In this video, I want to go over the best science-based workout that completely transformed my arms. Growing up skinny, having broad shoulders was always an area that I struggled with. But once I started integrating this workout, it took my shoulders to the next level, and it'll do the same for you. This workout consists of 3 exercises that will work all 3 heads of the deltoids, leading to equal and developed growth. And the best part, all you need are dumbbells. No expensive equipment, no crazy machines, just dumbbells. Now without wasting any time, let's jump into the first exercise, which is going to be standing dumbbell overhead press. Now the majority of my lifting career, I always perform this exercise in a seated position. And there's nothing wrong with this because it's still an amazing exercise, but a recent study compared muscle activation between a seated and standing overhead press. 15 trained male subjects performed 5 reps of 80% of their 1 rep max for each exercise while electrodes measured muscle activation. The results found that in a seated position, you're primarily working the front and middle deltoid, while in the standing position, you work both of these along with the posterior deltoid, meaning you can hit all 3 heads at once, and this will increase your shoulder size drastically. Now because we're recruiting more muscles for stability, you're ultimately not going to be able to move as much weight as you normally would in a seated position. So if your goal is pure strength training, then a seated variation is for you. But for muscle growth, studies show that standing overhead press is superior. Adjust this exercise accordingly to meet your fitness goals. And all these benefits are great, but if you don't perform the exercise properly, you're going to significantly limit how much progress you'll see. And before we even jump into form, I want to quickly discuss how we properly get the weight over our head. Many people will lift the weight just like this using momentum, and this can lead to shoulder injuries before you're even able to complete 1 rep. What you should do is hold both dumbbells up against your thighs. Then march 1 leg up and get your wrist and elbow underneath the weight. Then repeat on the other side, and now you're in an appropriate position to start the exercise. And before we press, you want to squeeze your core to increase activation and provide stability for your low back. A good cue is to imagine you're squeezing in your belly button when trying to put on tight jeans. And after we do this, now it's time to press. Instead of pressing with your arms completely out at your sides, you actually want your arms slightly in, making approximately a 45-degree angle. This will place your shoulder in the more natural plane that they move in, and it will significantly reduce the risk of injury. Now, all we do is press the weight up overhead and slowly control the weight down. The way down is called the eccentric phase, and this is where the majority of muscle growth takes place. I like to aim for a 2 to 3 second descent, and making this small difference can completely change the results that you see. Try and perform 4 sets of 12 reps and be sure to push yourself so you get the most out of this exercise. And the next exercise that we're going to discuss is dumbbell lateral raises. A recent 2020 research article looked at EMG analysis of shoulder activation during the lateral raise. After the study, they found that there was 80% muscle activation in the front deltoid, 48% in the middle deltoid, and 36% in the posterior or back deltoid. Now, just like the overhead press, we're working all 3 heads, which is a huge benefit. And inherently, this appears to be an easy movement because you just bring your arms out to the side, but many people mess it up. So I want to spend a little extra time going over form. The first thing we need to understand is we're aiming to have our shoulders in a slight externally rotated position. And an easy way to visualize this is when you stand up in a normal position with your arms rested at your side, your shoulders are currently in a neutral position. Now all you do is slightly turn your thumb outward, and we want to perform the lateral raise maintaining this position. Another great way to visualize this is to pretend you're using a gallon of milk. When you do a lateral raise, the top of the gallon should be pointed slightly up, enough that it would not pour out any milk. The mistake many people make is they perform the lateral raise in an internally rotated position. Going back to the gallon of milk, if I took the lid off the milk, we'd be pouring it all over the floor. The issue with this is that it decreases the amount of space that we have inside our shoulder, and it jams the upper portion of our arm, our humerus, into our shoulder blade. And this is a super common cause of shoulder impingement and pain. Now you're not going to mess your shoulder up doing 1 set improperly. However, if you continue to perform it wrong, you're ultimately going to lead to shoulder issues down the line. And now that we discussed how to perform it, how many sets and reps should we do? We're going to perform 3 sets of 10 reps. And just like the overhead press, I want you to aim for a 2 to 3 second lowering phase. And before we jump to the last exercise of the workout, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more fitness videos and content just like this. And to round out the workout, we're going to finish with dumbbell rear delt flies. If you noticed, the other 2 workouts target primarily the front and middle deltoid, putting the posterior deltoid on the back burner. But for this exercise, they're going to be the main mover. To perform this exercise, you want to start by hinging at the hips and maintain a neutral spine. Then extend your arms up and back as far as you can. And also be sure to contract your core to improve your low back stability. Now, if this exercise is too difficult or you're struggling to perform it, then this variation is for you. You can place your chest face down on an inclined bench and then perform the exercise. This will take the core and other stability muscles out of the equation and allow you to focus more on the rear delts. And because we're concluding with this exercise, I like to go out with a bang and finish with 4 sets of 12 reps. And if you made it this far in the video, I want to give you a bonus tip that will make your shoulder growth even better. And the tip is that you need to implement shoulder training on chest days. The reason being is because the chest and shoulders are synergistic muscles, meaning they perform similar actions and they work closely together. So if you do this, you're ultimately going to be working the shoulders during chest exercises as well, leading to more growth. And when I started implementing this, it completely changed my physique. So you can't afford to skip this video here. Check it out now where I go over the 5 best chest exercises that you could possibly perform.